Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
People in the classroom here, remember you got to speak into a microphone so that we can get you recorded and so the people online can hear you. We've had some wonderful Moxie training from corporate. And it's really good if your brain works like mine. And none of your brains work like mine. In fact, my wife wonders how I get out of bed every morning, the way my brain works. So I decided we'd slow down a little bit, go back and look at the CRM. And this week I'm going to give 2 rather short classes so you can go home and play in here like you guys are, and then come back with questions. And then we'll start moving along that CRM to make it sing for you. Okay? Does that sound reasonable? Okay. One more chat. So can you people online see my screen? Sharon says she doesn't know where to find it.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sharon, you can find Moxie in 2 ways. The first way is inside a brokerage engine, which we call betterks.org. In the upper left-hand corner is a drop-down that says tools and apps. And in there, we made a single sign-on to Moxie for you. So if you're in our company BetterKS website and click on Moxie, you'll go right in to be logged in. I hope that helps.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You can also find it in the greenhouse. In the greenhouse, I type in the search bar Moxie, M-O-X-I, and it will bring up the Moxie page for me. It's in the navigation too, but sometimes that takes a while, so I like the search bar. Once you're inside Moxie, you will see a page that looks like this, except it's going to have your picture in it and your information. Ta-da! Okay. Most of this information should be correct. Now mine's a little more because I'm the broker and I've got 2 sides of towns and stuff like that. Yes? Question? Okay. Here's one thing I want to assure everybody, because I've talked to people from other competing franchises. We won't mention their name, but their initials are KW. Apparently, when you carry like that, apparently when you put contacts in their CRM or your contacts in their program, their broker can see every one of them. And when you leave, their broker gets all the contacts, and they've stolen them and taken customers from people. And I think that's wrong. Your sphere of influence is yours. In this program, I can't even log in and to your profile unless you give me permission. And when you leave, all of your contacts are erased. And none of your contacts are shared with anybody who sells things like a Zillow or those kind of stuff. So this is completely confidential and private. Don't worry about me taking your contacts. And as I said that, why would I want to? I don't know your people. You know your people. Me jumping in would be kind of an invasion to them. So we don't do that. So now that that's out of the way, some of this stuff that appears here, I can change for you. Some of it I cannot. We are working with corporate right now because the social media links don't appear to be changing after we put them in, but I'm still working to get that done. However, I changed to my customized website yesterday and it populated in here and goes where it's supposed to. So there's some of this information, if it's not correct in the web info or contact info, let me or Tracy upstairs know and we can change it, or we'll work on getting it changed. That's not what we're in class today for, but I did want to tell you. So we are going into Engage. As we talked about last week, Engage is how you engage your clients in communication, in marketing, and so on. So going into Engage opens up the CRM portion of Moxie. My view is going to be slightly different until I change it. Where do we find the website and URL? It's on the very front page that you log in, Lynn. It will be under web info. And I can help you with that later. Now, there is a problem that you will see on mine that you should no longer see on yours. I found out last week, some of you had a drop down for talent mode. That should be gone. I turned it off for most of you.
Is that turned on automatically now?
Talent would be if you're recruiting other agents. Most of you don't want to be recruiting people. So that's a whole different set of scenario that I had to remove for you. It was a setting that was accidentally turned on for some of you. You should come right into agent mode. You shouldn't even have that up there anymore. CC's verifying that? Good. Okay. So when you log in, you don't have to worry about management. And what management does is tell me if you're closing deals and if you've hit your production goals. That's all it does. Talent is what I use to recruit, but this is what you should see. We covered this a little bit, but I'm going to go over it real slowly. This to-do that's in here is them giving you a dashboard to log in and say, have I talked to enough people today? What's my calendar say I have to do? What are the tasks? I'm not going to cover all that today. We'll do more of that next week. But one thing I want to show you, if you do not like the order that this is in, maybe you want your activity feed at the top. Well, you can pick it up and move it to the top. And now my activity feed is the first thing that I have up there. So you guys can decide how you want this. I like to stay in flow at the top. And the stay in flow basically means what's going on and who should you reach out to. Again, I'm going to let you play with that on your own. What we're talking about today is how do you enter contacts and how do you start making them work for you? Contacts will be under people. When I hover over people, I can go to overview. I can see a list of my people come up, or I can add someone. So we're going to start with add someone. It's very simple, but I want you to see the things you can do. So I keep using all my favorite musical stars, and I'm running out of musical stars to use. Here we go. Celine Dion. I didn't spell it right, did I? Nobody's going to tell me how to spell Celine Dion. Thank you, Carrie Ann. At least somebody cares that I do it right. Now, I'm going to put an email address in here. Let's see. Celine@gmail.com. And I'm going to put a phone number. 316-555-5555. I don't have to put anything else, but I want you to see you can add a lot of things. Maybe you want to label it. Use labels when creating mailing labels. This program will do mailing labels for you. Maybe they speak more languages than just English. Address. You can add an address. Instant messaging. Do they have some sort of Facebook instant messaging or other programs that I'm not up on? Relationships. Who's their wife? Who's their kids? Who are their, their friends that live next door neighbors? A personal field. Anything else you want to add in there? You get down to social media. What's their Facebook page? What's their Twitter, LinkedIn, and other. Now, you're going to see that other is kind of limited. So let's talk about it real quick. Personal, would be my wife. I'm not going to market to my wife. I might market to my kids. They're kind of dumb sometimes. They need to know I'm still what business I'm in. I might want to, but there are people that I don't particularly want to market to, but I still want in here. For those of you who have our company email, a lot of your contacts pulled over here. And that's why you might have contacts that are your old neighbor from when you lived in Austin, Texas. You can mark them as past buyer or past seller. And I'm going to say that Celine bought a house for me once. Yes, but not in the way you think you can. You can put them both in here as both past buyer and seller. And collaborator is their term for sort of personal. I know an inspector. I know an appraiser. I know other real estate agents that aren't past buyers and sellers. And now I'm done.
Is there a way to add more?
Not on that field. But you'll also see it as soon as I create Celine. Is this a non-client or a client? If they're a client, which we will make it so, then I have several chances to pick from. I can make them a buyer prospect or a seller prospect. Yes, you can do both, but not in the way you think you can. Or you can create a new marketing plan. Past buyer, past seller, past buyer and seller, or none of these, and create your own marketing plan. Now, what we did in the beginning was say, here's a new person, and they are in my contact list because they are past buyer, seller, so on. Once that's done, I'm getting here to say, I want to make a marketing plan that fits what this person's goal is. Is this person's goal a past buyer or seller? None of these. Is this person somebody who is currently getting, let me get back to, I'm sorry. I'm going to go all the way back to agent mode. I want to look at my people. This is one way you can look up Celine. You can also type her in up here. Oh, come on, pull it in. I could search down through these 545 people, but I'm just going to type Celine. As I start typing her name, it auto-populates. And I'm back here. She's a client. I'm going to make her a seller prospect. Now then, some of you folks already are going to go, because I know this question happens. I want somebody to sell a house. They want to sell a house and buy a house. Yes, you can do that. But I like to think through where I'm trying to get to before I decide what I'm doing. Most people right now, if they were trying to sell a house, are going to tell you, I need to buy a house. I need to find a house to buy first before I sell mine. Well, then I would have made them a buyer prospect because that's their priority. When I get into the specifics of what are they actually trying to do now, then you can add both. But up front, this lady's moving to Seattle. I'm not helping her find a house. Celine Dion doesn't want to live here anymore. So I made her a seller and I'm done. Now there's some tasks that happen when I make her a seller. And these tasks are the plan for you to go through and help Celine sell her house. So when I say right now, I want to mark them as a buyer or seller, I'm looking for what their priority is today so I can add the tasks to it. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Now, on Thursday, we're going to talk about these tasks and how you can customize them for you. Was there a question? No? Yes, microphone.
What's the difference between marking somebody as personal or collaborator and marking them as a non-client?
It is just the way you can search for people and you have to put them in back here at the beginning. We're going to talk more in depth about that in just a second. Okay. So as I'm going through this list that I just made, well, I don't do pre-listing, so I'm going to mark it as done. It's done. It's out of there. Do I want the pre-listing interview? Yes. I want to walk through the property. I'm not going to send them a packet because I do a one-time showing or a listing. Now I'm showing you this not to give you advice, but rather as you complete things, this will show up under their list of those things are already done and I don't have to go back and do them elsewhere. If you're like me, the way I used to list property, this is in my head all the time and I never ever had to write down the list. And then I always forgot things and made myself look stupid. Lance probably has a spreadsheet on each and every one of his clients that is highly detailed, including calling them at 8:30 in the morning for blank. You all will have your own method. If you don't have any lists at all, this gives you a list. And I'm going to show you how to customize this list Thursday. Lance, I hope I didn't embarrass you. I'm just picking on your spreadsheets, which is how I do it. It's all in my head and I forget it all the time. So that's what we're doing when we're setting up a prospect. We are adding an activity plan for this person. So if I'm at Celine's profile page and I want to see where I'm at on her activity page, I click here and it shows up. These tasks are also going to show on my dashboard. It's going to be here's what you need to do today. So you don't have to look into each client. Understand? We have a question. What is obtain mutual acceptance? You lost me on that one. Was that on the checklist maybe, April? I'll assume it was. And I'm going to tell you that if you see things on this checklist, this was created by Moxie as a starter for everyone across the country. People we might not even have these kind of customs or things here. That's why I'm going to show you how to customize your list later. Okay. I hope that answered your question. Yes. Okay. So there's other things here on Celine's profile. Notes. And when I add a note to Celine's file, this will also shoot out, if you're using our email, to the contact list in our email. Okay, they're connected. It's a push-pull method. Now, do not expect to write a note in here and instantly see it over in the email. It might take an hour, might take a couple of hours, but ultimately it syncs everything so that it goes back and forth.
So you add emails them or emails you, or when you add a note, does it email yourself, email the client?
This isn't an email. This is a note in their contact record inside Office
So if I send
365.
an email to the client, it shows up.
No, no, no. This is a personal note that you keep to remember whatever you need to on John Smith.
Because when I want to throw my client under the bus.
Yeah, you don't want to share that with.
I don't want my client to see that.
Exactly. These are your notes only. Activities. So we added her to our sphere. As we start doing things in here, they'll show up in the activities. Favorites and saves. Now I have a little problem with this because we're using Real Scout. But if they save a favorite on your website, they would show up here. Okay. I want to go back to one more thing. Profile. Edit the profile. Oh, address, relationship, dates. One of the things that Moxie works really hard on is to show you guys when your special dates are happening for your clients. So if you have a special date, like a house anniversary. Now, I know a couple of years ago, I stood on Sandra and told her to enter all of her house anniversaries into things. And none of them transferred over into here. You're welcome. It had to do with how things were mapped and zap and so on. But you can, as you start adding new people or selling a house, put a house anniversary in here. And that will remind you, this is when they purchased their house from you. And then you can set up reminders to say 3 days before their house sold, I want to be reminded so that I know the home is sold. And I need to call Celine and say, thank you very much, Celine. There were other dates in there. Birthday, anniversary, or even a custom one. You can put whatever you want. But these are the fields that you would add to get reminders about special dates for your clients. Does this work with a Hotmail account? No, it currently does not. It works with our company email, or it works if you have a free Gmail account. They are adding others as we go. But in the initial layout, it's free Gmail, or for us, the company email. For you, if I had a corporate Gmail, it would work with that too. But since I didn't sign up a corporate Gmail, only the free Gmail works for other people. Okay. Are there any questions right now about just adding people and the different fields on this page? Okay.
On that page, is there a way, instead of having to call them, is there a way it emails them a card and say happy anniversary on their?
Oh, yes, indeed. On your dashboard, you'll get a reminder that pops up that says, this is a house anniversary. Would you like to send them an email right now? And you can click on it and it will send them an email that you can either write a personal note or it's got some stuff already in it. That's some of the more advanced stuff I want to tell you about. But here's the deal as we step through this. When you're putting in a client, if you don't remember to put in a house anniversary, and then I tell you 3 weeks from now, oh, now go back and put everybody's anniversary in, you'll throw stuff at me. So I'm trying to tell you these fields are here. And if you've got the information, put it in, because there are things that are going to start happening to help you make sense of this. Okay. And good question. If you have more questions like that, please tell me so you'll understand the process. Yep. I want to.
Question real quick.
Yes.
So I don't have any people yet because I've just now uploaded my people into my email. Is there
Okay.
something I need to do to put those in now?
So who's asking that question?
Kathleen,
Kathleen. Hi, Kathleen.
hello.
You put them in Office 365?
I just put them, I just took my Excel spreadsheet
Right.
and put it into my Outlook.
But the company email, when did you
Yes.
do that?
When?
Yeah.
Just now, just this minute.
Okay. They should start populating there within the next hour or two.
Oh, okay, so they automatically do it.
Yes. If
Awesome. Okay,
if they don't, let me know so that I can let
Okay.
people at corporate who chase down this problem find out why. Okay.
all right, thank you.
What?
Thank you.
Sandra?
Okay, so I received a lead a couple of weeks ago and it kind of came in here through this leads engine. And when I went to classify it, I screwed up because he is selling and gonna rent for a while. So I screwed up and added him as a buyer and a seller because I was so excited. And so how do I remove the buyer? I'm not able to figure that out. You have a clue?
Well, did you add a transaction or you did it on those little buttons?
I think he came into me like automatically and then I did it on the
Okay.
buttons, but I clicked buyer first and I went, oh, oops, he's going to be a seller. But I'm trying to figure out how to uncheck him because he is not a buyer, but he's showing up now in my thing as a buyer. over on
So
my
like
laptop.
right here?
Right.
Okay,
He's in there as a buyer and a seller, but I need to remove the buyer.
okay.
portion.
So if, and this is gonna happen to all of you, you're gonna put in somebody as something and you're gonna get a plan that shows up. Click on it. And up at the top, I can move Celine, and this is again, we're talking about plans. When I put Celine in here, I said, well, she is hopefully gonna be a seller someday, but currently she's not active. I can move her to active, and I'm gonna confirm it. And now that's gonna change some of the stuff to do down here. But if I want to get rid of her and I click on the little arrow off to the side, I can delete the transaction. And that's only going to delete that part of it that you just asked about, not both.
That worked. So perfect. That was easy to do.
Okay,
Okay, my next question is, so I did listing paperwork yesterday and we just went active today and I'm looking through on the seller, conduct walkthrough, presentation thing. So I found where it says complete listing agreement, but then the plan ends there. So I want to put that it's active. I want to put it's pending.
Thursday, I'm going to show you how to customize those plans. And I say that because it is a little more advanced. And so I'm just showing you now the plans come up. Let's get played with a little bit on our contacts, and Thursday, we'll talk about how to make the plan what you need it to be. I wish I could do it for the whole company. That's not in the cards yet.
So I've got a question for you. I'm gonna have you back up just a little bit. Let's say that I'm adding a client, past client that has already bought and sold a house. I just need to get them in here so I can start doing other campaigns to stay in touch with them. They're not an active seller. They're not an active buyer. Maybe I just help them. They just closed their house last month. So what word, how do I label them?
I would label them as a past buyer.
So at the very beginning,
And we're going to look at some other things too. But if you enter them now at the very beginning, I'd put them in as a past buyer. Correct. Now, somebody asked if you add contacts to the Real Scout, do they push back? Yes, they absolutely do. And every contact you put in here, you can make into a Real Scout contact. You may not want everybody in Real Scout that you have, but you can push them out. But if you put them in Real Scout, it does push back to here. Okay.
Okay.
More questions?
Greg, I have a quick question. This is April.
You're welcome to ask, and I've got lots more to cover, so I'm going to stay here as long as you want. Just go
Sorry,
ahead.
when my migration happens, I've got duplicates of every person who was in my contact list.
Uh-huh. Gee, you sound like Sandra, who her 250 contacts ended up to be 700 something. I need you to just send me a brief email. At least give me one example, and I'll forward that to the powers that be up there. They
Okay.
may reset you. So I will get you into communication with you, and we'll see what we can do to get you back.
Okay,
Part of the
thank you.
reason, you're welcome. Part of the reason we're doing this early stuff is because I like to break things and make sure they work. And otherwise, we don't get a say in how things work. The downside is it screws you guys up. So I'm really sorry.
Hey, you've
But
done really
the old CRM was so bad. I couldn't, we needed the new. Was there another question? Nope. Okay. So now then, let's talk about, I have people in here, and what is the first marketing thing I can do that makes sense? You have two choices in my mind. One choice is you can go to Real Scout and set up listing alerts. Here's the problem with what I think doing a listing alert on general marketing. If they are actively searching for homes, I prefer Real Scout. It's very nice. It's most updated material. It sends them out the listings and you're done. But if I've got somebody in Lance's case who just bought a house, I don't need that person to get listing alerts, but I still want to touch them and let them know what's going on in their neighborhood. I would set up a subscription. And that subscription would be neighborhood news. Now, I'm going to tell you what listing announcements are, but they're not necessarily what I would recommend marketing to your sphere of influence. I don't need everybody in my sphere to know that I've just listed a new house in Belle Plaine when they live in Lawn Terrace. I don't need them to know that I just sold them another house, because that's telling them stuff that makes me look good but doesn't help them. I would do a neighborhood news. What is neighborhood news? It shows them activity in an area that you define close to their house that has a variety of information. New house on the market, what the average price is, are the prices going up and down? We'll look at one in a minute. So I would add the subscription for neighborhood news. There are two ways you can get them
What are you
in.
doing?
Hello?
Cindy. I don't,
You're liking that I'm marketing to Celine Dion?
yep. Inspector's inside doing an inspection on this, so he's just inside doing an inspection.
Whoever's talking, can you mute yourself, please?
What do you say about the roof?
Okay, there we go. Now, I know that zip codes in this city are kind of weird, because you can have a $30,000 to a $300,000 house in one zip code or higher. But if you want to be quick, that's the way to do it.
That's my call.
If you want to be more specialized,
Great, thank you.
you do custom. And this was giving me little fits yesterday, and I can see it's going to give me little fits today. This is the home beat, yes. Home beat was nice because you typed in an address and it picked the areas around you. Yes, I know you're still mad at me, Sandra. You can be mad at me. You're
love doing rework.
Yeah, I know. Don't we all? So when this comes up, it's just showing me whatever's on the map, or I can draw something on the map. So I would move the map to where I want to be. And in this case, Celine lives in Eastboro, let's say. I'm making this computer do a lot of stuff. So that's Central, Woodlawn, there's Eastboro. And I'm going to draw just one quick thing, and I'm not even going to be very accurate on it, around Eastboro. Huh? Thank you. You want to work the mouse? Sandra thinks I've been drinking already. It's not 11 o'clock yet. Once I draw on that, and again, you can get very detailed, but this is a very generalized thing. You want somebody, you know where they live, draw a circle sort of around their house, and click next. I wanted to go to Celine, but I could send it to more people if I wanted to. And now I'm done. Every 30 days, Celine's going to get an email.
You can't change that.
We cannot, we've put in a request to change it. The email preview would look like this.
What was Lance's question?
Lance wanted to know if we can change the frequency the neighborhood news goes out.
Okay.
Some people have a thought that going out every month could drive people crazy. Could. Other people may say, once a month, I have a delete button. I'm not worried. Believe me, some of the junk I delete every day. But we have put in the request to have a change of times. The email would look like this: March 22 report from Greg Fox, Neighborhood News. Click to view the full report. If you want to see and there's the listings that go out. And then it's got some market changes from January to February, median price range, and so on. So the Neighborhood News is a nice way to give something of value to your clients, that show them what's going on in the neighborhood and the changes statistically besides just the listings. That's why for a client that I'm marketing to, I like this better than Real Scout, which is up to the minute. I'm looking for the house. I need a particular house.
Is Home Beat, is it shut off now, or when is that going to happen? Because I have all my past clients set up in that, and I don't want them getting both.
Darn good question. I have notified Lone Wolf that I quit paying at the end of December. As is normal with Lone Wolf, their right hand doesn't know what their left hand's doing. So Home Beat is still actively working. It could go away tomorrow. It could go away in 2 years. And they are that bad, yes. So currently, the best way I can suggest is go into Home Beat and delete everybody if you want to get rid of them.
On the Neighborhood News, does it just do actives? Can you set it up to do actives and solds, or?
You saw every selection I had to do. So you're going to have to look at the report. Here's some active listings. Here's a sold listing. Sold. Here is a, because it is sort of like a mini CMA just based on the area. It tells you what the median prices are doing. It tells you if it's up and down. And more than anything, it's got your ugly mug on there so that your clients know it's from you. So so I've shown you now how to enter a contact, how to categorize them. You can mark them as buyer and sellers if you want. Shown you some first marketing plans. I'm going to give you 2 other things and then I'm going to let you all go. In people, in my people. Everybody that has company email, I provide it for you. Your contacts are already over here. And you're going, well, Greg, I'm not adding a contact. I need to figure out how to categorize what I already have in there. I clicked on my people. And at the very top here, I can edit groups, mean I can add and change and make new group names, whatever I want. And I can also have a categorize wizard. So the people that are already in here, you haven't categorized. If you click on this wizard in a minute, it's going to start bringing up people 6 at a time that says, hey, you need to get rid of these. You need to categorize these. And once you click on that wizard, you can say, Harris, he's the guy that I'm sending all your email questions to at corporate. So he's a non-client. Do I want to remove him from Engage? I can. Do I want to mark him as personal or a collaborator? Well, I'm working with him at corporate, so he's a collaborator. My wife, she's a client. Do I want to create a marketing plan, make her a seller prospect or a buyer prospect? Well, just because I want to see what happens when I create a marketing plan. Oh, well, I want to create one. Okay, your marketing plan is ready to go. I'm not sure what I clicked on. I clicked too fast, that's why. Past seller, past buyer and seller, none of these. And again, this will take you through the people that you have not categorized yet. and let you categorize them. Now, would I spend 3 days doing them all at once? No, I wouldn't. I'd go to my people and I'd do maybe 10 a day. If you're like me and you have 500 people, I can knock out 200 people in, I don't know how long I did it, hour and a half. So it's not going to take all that long, but get people in here, get them categorized. If you're ready to set them up, if you've not used Homebeat before and you want to set them up on neighborhood news, let's get that going now. And now that you've seen what a marketing plan is, on Thursday, we're going to talk about how to set up your marketing plan. Okay?
I have a question. So yes, I've had a lot of contacts, got them back down, and now I'm back up again. So I've got a lot of people in there that are husbands in there as one entry, wife is in there as another because they imported from my Google through my phone.
Right.
So probably best to join them up and create one account or one person and put both names as the first name, or what are your thoughts?
I think everybody's database, we can overthink it really a lot. So I would not be too bugged that there's a husband and wife both in here. I would have to remember in my mind, Jane and John Smith are married and I'm only going to set up one of them. Maybe you have neighborhood news going to both of them. I don't know. If you decide, but it's your database, how do you want to use it? If for you duplicates are a real issue, then I would pick the decision maker in the household and combine that with the non-decision maker. So let's pick on me for a minute. If my wife and I were in there, then you'd want to set up Tracy to get all the information and make sure. And by the way, she's married to Greg down at the bottom of Tracy's profile page. Okay, you get it? So it's how you want to make it work for you. Personally, I probably wouldn't get too upset to have duplicates in there in terms of husband and wife. Now, my wife was in there 3 times. So I removed 2 of them from Engage. I don't know why they're in Outlook 3 times. It could have been the Google Mail mixed in and so on, but I just removed 2 of them from Engage and I was done.
Okay, so, but you did say we can eventually do mailing labels on here.
Yes.
So, I mean, like right now, because I do my calendars once a year and I send out newsletters quarterly that are a paper one. May or may not continue that, but I'm updating an Excel spreadsheet. So if I have them in here but I like to have both their first names on the mailing label.
And
So
I
then-
think that would be wise. Now, remember, whenever you have a help issue, let's look at Denise Ziegler. Let's look at Dave and Cynthia. If I'm in Dave and Cynthia's and I want to look at their profile, I don't know how I've got them named in here. I can edit it. Remember down here, I could add a label name. Oh, what happened? Moxie shut off. That's kind of weird. My mouse is being funky. Sorry, guys. Get back into Engage. Let's see what this question is. Marie, no. Well, sort of. Marie asked the question, do we have a subdivision sort? It sort of does, in that I was testing it yesterday to look inside the program to see if I could sort by subdivisions. I could find a neighborhood called Riverside. I could not find a neighborhood called Willow Bend. So yes, indeed, some of them will be able to say Riverside and find that. Agent mode. Let's get back into Dave and Cynthia. I don't know why my mouse is so sensitive today. So I went into people overview. This is another page I've not shown you, but it's kind of the same thing. I need to set up, what Celine is. They're showing up here as people I need to do things with, recommended actions, the new people that I just added. And we will cover more of that on Thursday, but going back into my people, you can even see my recently viewed over here. I'm discovering things. Let's go back into Dave and Cynthia. I want their profile. Edit. I can set up some label names. Now, what they are, I'm not entirely sure. Add anything you'd like to appear on a mailing label instead of first name, last name fields, like the Campbells, Bob and Dottie, the Rutgers. This program is relatively intuitive in that it tells you what you can do or what you could use that field for. You can also click on the help here. Now, I've shown you help before. And you see, as I pull up, it says, what page are you on? Well, here's some things that might help you. How do I edit a contact? How do I add or change them? How do I change an office contact? And if none of those, or you type in a question, get in touch and they will chat with you. So I'm going to ask them a question live chat. Last time I showed you guys this, we looked up the weather in Seattle. I won't do that to you this time. Choose a department. Well, we are in Engage. So I want to look for the Engage project. For anybody who gets lost in some of these, like this Imprev, that used to be what Impress was called. So don't get too messed up with it. I'm going to pick Engage. I don't need a phone number. And the message is, how do I print mailing labels? Yeah, I can't spell anything. Let's see if they correct me. Now, these are generally some, thanks for chatting. You can check this if you want to find how-tos or so on. But I want to see what JP says to me. I think they're going to tell us that we have to export an Excel file that will interact with Word, but at least you've got all your information in a place that we can do things with. I'll get right back to you, Lynn. It says they don't do profile pages. So let's see. Yes. On the edit person page, they have a label name that says when creating mailing labels. Now, I'm not trying to show you that I know everything about the program. I am trying to tell you that there are people that will chat with you online and help you. And Lynn, I'll go back to that page where you did the 6 and how to refresh it and get more people up there. And then we'll call it a class because it's been an hour and I promise to keep these short and not overwhelm people. There's a big red question mark in the lower right-hand corner.
I pulled up. So I'm trying to add a new person to see if I can add the spouses. And I don't know if this is something that we can request or not, but is there, I mean, you can add a relationship down at the bottom. And it gives you a chance to add a spouse partner. You put the name in there, but that's it. There's no way to add additional phone number for that spouse, an email for that spouse. And so Sandra and I were talking about this. It's like, well, I guess I could go up here and add phone, but there's no, you can't
There's no way to
customize the label.
designate them as a separate person.
Right. I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know if there's a way that if they can add, not spouse, but add, custom for the phone numbers and email addresses. A label, a custom label for that, spouse email.
I'll see what I can request.
You said if we build them in Real Scout first, though, they will transfer over here?
Yes.
Because in Real Scout, you can build it. Like I built a search for one of my friends that I'm helping look for a house. So I put her as the primary, but under her profile, I could put her spouse and his phone number and his email address. Now I haven't gone back on my computer to see how it has transitioned into here.
I would be interested in knowing on Thursday.
Okay, I'll look.
If you can look and see how that, or even send me a screenshot of how it transferred over and I'll take a look at it before then.
Okay.
I noticed, this is and I noticed when you put in a phone number, when you hit add phone, there's all kinds of sections. You can do a mobile phone, a home phone 2, work 2, company, assistant. So maybe on other, you could click other and just add the spouse's phone number. When you're in your person and you're editing the profile.
Yeah, I see what you're
Same
saying.
with email address. When you add a person's email address, there's a secondary or other, and then you can just type in the spouse's emails.
And I can't believe this would be the first time they've heard that question. So give me some time to do a little research. Again, guys, it's next to impossible to have the perfect CRM. We have to find ways that use it to work for us. There are lots of CRMs that might have more contacts and spouses and so on. As you point out, even the Real Scout does it. On the other hand, does it interact with the marketing and interact with this and interact? So we've got to find the best of the worlds we can get together. Yes, Sandra?
I did what I think that was Erica that just talked. I had added a new buyer into Real Scout first, and I just pulled it up in Moxie Engage. I don't have her boyfriend's phone number, so I only had one, but her email is in as the primary, and I added his on as the secondary in Real Scout, and he is showing up as a secondary email in my Moxie.
Okay.
So
while he's doing some digging on that, Lynn asked a question about the wizard. And if you go into my people, come on. Oh, get out of there. Oh, let's see what good morning, Greg. We're pushing the internet real hard to have all this going. There, it's back up. Go back to agent mode. Go back to my people. Go back to the category wizard. You're right, Lynn. When you first click on the people that are up here. Non-client, remove from engage. Remove, I don't like those because they take too long. Non-client collaborator. Non-client collaborator. I'm sorry, Cheryl, you're going to be a non-client. Here's my wife again. Like I say, she showed up too many times. When you're done with the 6, down at the bottom, there's a button that says, show me more. And you click on it and 6 more will come up. Okay. Hope that answers your question. Sharon, you're quite lucky. Thank you. You're welcome. Let me see what, okay, he's still looking. So here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to wait for John Paul to write me back. If you want to sit here and wait, you can. Otherwise, I want you to go back to your offices, home, wherever, play with few contacts. Get them in there. Use the little question button if you need to. Ask about things. Start at least knowing where they, especially if they're past buyers or past sellers, shouldn't be that hard to categorize them. You really can. That wizard helps a lot. And if you want to set up a neighborhood news once or twice, set yourself up just to see what it looks like, see what happens. I had to set up 2 people at corporate because there was some things that looked funky, didn't come through right. They had to redesign some things. So it's worthwhile for you to know what you're sending to your clients. And if you like it, then start putting in more for clients, okay? And then Thursday we'll get together and we'll talk about plans. We'll talk about Real Scout. We'll talk about transactions. Okay? Now I'm going to quit recording and take you off that. And then I'm going to ask you one very important question. Let me see where I stopped the recording.